My first question is, like, what do you think about the relationship between the employee and the customer if it's a disabled person? Like, what is the behavior of a disabled person? The employer with the person.
If a person with a disability was working for an employer,
Yeah.
what would be some of the challenges
Yeah.
for the employer?
Yeah, like what the situation or the circumstances they are facing.
I've thought about this many times. Of course, it depends on the kind of disability that the person has. There are so many different types of disabilities. In fact, just about every human being has some difficulty in some area. Otherwise, they are exceptional people.
Yeah.
So, in a way, employers have to adjust to the personality of the people that they work with in any situation.
Yeah.
But most of us are able to conform and able to perform the duties as required. But for instance, a person who has a physical disability may need adaptations in the equipment and in the access to the building and so on, so that it's comfortable for them.
Yeah.
Also, what needs to happen, because a very important part of work is the social interaction, because that is what helps people's well-being. So it's important to have the opportunity for other people to get to know that person, not just the way that they look or the way that they are enabled through their equipment and so on, but to find out some things about them. Yeah, so this is challenging. Some organisations, big organisations, are able to do this well, and some small organisations are able to do this really well. But, for instance, in maybe in a factory or in a place where people have to work long hours and very fast and they don't have much time to talk, it can be harder, and sometimes the lunch breaks are very short and it can be quite lonely. Yeah. But speaking from my personal experience, if you would like that, with regard to my son and other people who have intellectual disability, I can talk about that. And I would say that, for instance, a person can be really talented with ability to do to make a PowerPoint, for instance. So one of my son's friends is really good at this, but she needs help to be able to select the right words and the right things to say. She can put it together, but sometimes it's confusing. If you ask her how she's feeling, she might talk about, or if you ask her what are the challenging issues for her, she might always talk about something really bad that happened to her when she was 12 years old. And so keeping going back to that trauma sometimes is difficult. Yeah. I'm sorry, but I really think that probably what people with an intellectual disability need is to have a mentor in the workplace, somebody who can work with them, who can help them to bring out the best in their job. So this means that you're not just employing one person, you're employing two people. You're employing the person with the intellectual disability as well as their mentor. And it may be that the mentor, after a while, after a few weeks, after a few months, or maybe even after years, might be able to withdraw. That might be a temporary arrangement. Yeah, it's not easy. Yeah, but it can be really rewarding, I think, because I think people love to have diversity in their environment, and they love to meet and discover the qualities in a person and discover the humanity in themselves as they put aside their immediate concerns to show friendliness to another person.
Yeah, like thoughts give them a motivation. For them, with the motivation and appreciation, they can do the things that the normal people can't do. Physical disability not is the main thing, but their positive things is the best if they are working on that.
I think many people can contribute positive things regardless of whether they have a disability or not. And some people are difficult. And sometimes people with a disability can have a difficult personality, the same as somebody without a disability can have a difficult personality.
Yes, right. And during the pandemic that everything is closed, there's a hard lockdown. So the disabled, like people, how they keep themselves busy in the in their life, in their daily house chores or the with the employment, how they will deal.
I think this was a very, very hard time for
Yeah, it's
many
a very
people
hard
with
time.
disability,
Yeah.
especially people who were living in accommodation, supported accommodation.
Yeah.
Their situation was very difficult because they normally would have the opportunity to go out,
Yeah.
and they normally, and there are not a lot of things that are provided for them in their homes.
Yeah.
And so, because there was a great concern about vulnerable people with disability living together
Yeah.
in a supported accommodation, possibly getting the virus, they were shut in almost as much as aged care people were. In fact, I think many of them were shut in the same amount that aged care
everything is shut down at
residents were. Yeah, so they weren't able to see people that they knew or go to things like cooking classes or work or things that they liked. They had to stay home, and it was hard to understand, really distressing.
Yeah.
And also they weren't able to receive therapy except online, and this required them to learn a whole lot of new things, and they didn't always have people who were good at showing them how to do this. For my son, who is an adult and who lives with me, who has activities every day, he goes to a day program 3 days a week. He goes to see his physio, and he also goes to another activity program. It was really challenging because suddenly everything stopped, and he was not able to do, he couldn't pay attention to do his exercises with the exercise physiotherapist online. He just lost interest and he just wanted to go to his computer. But it wasn't good for him just to sit at his computer looking at videos all day long and then only coming out to eat. And then he was no exercise, just lots of food. He was getting a bit fat. And he was also, and people with disability often get more diabetes than other people in the community. So there's a tendency, perhaps maybe because of being not as active and not as engaged in the community, they could tend to put on weight. So this was a problem as well. And the other thing was then when things changed and there was more opportunity for people to come back, it was hard for him to adjust to doing that because he had gotten used to being at home.
It was the difficult time to to maintain our life with the everything, every step of the life.
Exactly, yeah. And I think change is can be difficult for all of us. Change can also be exciting. It can be an opportunity if we understand it. And there were some opportunities. Julian, my son, was able to have some support. Once we understood that this was allowed, he was able to have a support worker come to the home and do some things with him. So that was good because he enjoyed seeing somebody who could inspire him and encourage him and be friendly and be there just for him, not just being with his parents, same old thing every day. So he enjoyed doing a little bit of dancing and listening to music with another person, with a nice young woman who is very good at dance teaching. And he also enjoyed doing some cooking, and he also enjoyed doing art. Then when things had to change, we decided to keep some of those things. So one of the things that we kept was the art. So now he still has somebody coming and doing art with him every couple of weeks, and art or pottery. And that's something that he really likes, and he got to like that person too.
Okay, that's a good thing to keep busy every time.
It's nice to be active, you're right, absolutely.
Yeah. And do you, as per me, that the people should be dependent because sometimes we can't, sometimes we have nobody to share our feelings or sometime to do some of the whole house chores that a normal one that we can do. So what do you think that the people need more carer, more care, as a personal carer, or should be dependent on somebody?
It really depends on the individual, doesn't it? I mean, I know some people with disability, intellectual disability or autism, who can live by themselves quite well, but they do need help. It's not that they can't do these things physically, but they need somebody to come to motivate them, because the idea doesn't come to them. Even though they have grown up with maybe being looked after by their parents or so ever, when they come to live independently, they need somebody to come, not just to do the jobs for them, but to do the jobs with them. Not to set them a schedule and say, you must do this on Monday, you must do this on Tuesday, because why will we do things when we must? We do things when we understand we need to do them, and when there's somebody to show us how nice it is when these jobs are done and how nice it can be to do them in company, it's good. I think the loneliness, the isolation is not helpful for doing jobs. For even taking care of yourself, even having a shower. You know, maybe a person can do that really easily, but if there's not somebody to remind them and to say, oh, how lovely and clean you are now, doesn't that feel nice? Look how nice you look. Let's go out and have a coffee. You look so lovely. You smell so good.
Yeah. So, just impairment make up people more difficult to do the house chores, but with the motivation or with the appreciation or with the help of if you are helping with your kid, like motivate him, so he can do the things, he can like depend on you, but he is motivated from you, like with the positive thoughts.
If we're talking about my son, then I will motivate him and I will give him some advance notice. So I will say to him, hey, tomorrow you're going to be doing this, so tonight we'll have a shower. We'll have dinner, you can watch a couple of shows on TV and then have a shower, and then when it's say, oh, it's time to have the shower now, one more show, yep, we'll go now, and then say, oh, look, you look so lovely, you've had a nice shave, you'll be so lovely to go out tomorrow. And then I have to help him while he's in the shower, because otherwise he will just let the water, just nice, run over him and feel good, but his hair won't get wet, his face won't get wet, and he doesn't like to have his face or his hair wet. So I'll say, hey, now it's time, come, just let me help you. And sometimes I have to push his forehead back and support him so he doesn't fall over, because his balance is very tricky. So if I touch him, he could easily fall. So I have to get my hand behind his back and just gently push his forehead back just for a little while, say, it's okay, it won't be long. Tip up, look up to the ceiling, look up. And then the water comes down and then he feels good. And then when he gets out, he's lovely and clean and his face is clean, his eyes are fresh. It's nice.
Yeah. So
then I have to help him to dry himself, because he will just dry his head and his shoulders and his legs, and then the bit in between is still all wet. Another thing I do when he's in the shower is I ask him to lift up his arms and let the water go under his armpits, and then with the cloth I say, just rub there, and explain to him where he has to rub. And the same when he gets, and then also to wash off the liquid soap. And then when he gets out, as you know, back to getting out again, I'll say, hey, now lift up your arms again, dry under there. Yeah, with the towel. And to get more of the towel, not just a little tiny bit of the towel, but to get the towel over your hand so that there's a big bit of towel there, so you can really get a big bit of towel on your body to make yourself nice and dry. And then that's good.
Yeah.
And the feet need to be dry too. Sometimes I might have to help to dry his feet and between his toes, because it's a little bit awkward.
Yeah. So what's the healthy diet for him? Like what?
I beg your pardon?
The healthy diet, the food.
Oh, healthy diet. Yeah, his healthy diet. Yeah, that's a good question too. Yeah, what is a healthy diet for him? Well, I think variety is a good thing in a diet, because then that keeps us enjoying food and being interested. So in the morning, quite often he will have, I will make porridge and he can serve it out. So that's oats with some sultanas and some almonds as well. And then he will add some yogurt, and then he will have that. And he will put out the food from the saucepan into a bowl for himself and into a bowl for me.
Oh,
So that's nice.
yeah.
And then
Very
the other
good.
thing, some days, today we had rice, because last night we had pilaf, we had rice with vegetables cooked in with it.
Yeah.
So today there was some left over last night. So today I warmed that up. We had that with a little bit of chopped up chili and some soy sauce.
Yeah.
So he enjoyed that very much.
Okay.
Other mornings, if we have some pasta left over from the night before, we might have pasta and cheese for breakfast. Sometimes we put an egg with that.
Okay.
Yeah. And for lunch, usually he will have a sandwich, which will be some salad, something like hummus, or which is chickpea dip.
Okay.
And he'll have a banana and a mandarin or an apple. And then in the afternoon, he might have some bread and peanut paste and a cup of tea.
Yeah.
And then in the evening, we will usually have pasta or rice and meat, chicken, or sometimes we eat kangaroo. So it's quite a healthy, balanced diet with a lot of variety.
Yeah, that's good to have a balanced diet.
And he loves eating.
Yeah.
When he's out, some support workers, they like to eat McDonald's, but I don't really encourage Julian to eat McDonald's. He always has his lunch. So, but he will have a coffee or an ice cream at McDonald's.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, which I personally, I wouldn't. I wish he wouldn't, but that's his choice.
Yeah.
But the main thing I think is that because he is well fed with healthy food, he isn't hungry for a lot of fatty food because he doesn't need it, because he's not hungry, because he's eaten his good sandwich.
So are you going with your child for outside for for exercise for you?
Do I like to go outside for exercise myself?
Yourself or with your kid, just roaming, just for walking?
Yeah, we do go for walks, and I go for a walk every day for about half an hour with my husband. My son doesn't usually want to come with me, but he will go for a walk with a support worker.
Okay, that's fine.
He goes for 2 walks a week with support workers, and he goes to exercise class 1 day a week for half an hour, and then he goes for a walk after that. So I guess he has 3 walks a week and 1 exercise class.
Exercise, yeah. So
you've covered everything, really, haven't you? The one thing we could talk about is sleeping. So sleeping is also important.
Yeah.
And I think it's good to have a routine for sleeping.
Yeah.
So I encourage Julian to stop watching television or shows or iView at 9 o'clock, and then, or maybe sometimes 8:45, and then do other things, and then go to bed at 9:30, and then I will talk to him, and maybe his father will read him a story, and so then that's something he's been doing since he was a child. He likes to look at a book, just even if it's a magazine or something, just with his dad, just before he goes to sleep. So he has a routine.
Yeah, before
and he
the
will
sleep. Yeah, it's a good thing. Yeah.
So he will be in bed at about 10 o'clock, and then he will be up in the morning at 7:30.
Yeah, that's a good thing to make a
and myself,
routine.
I will go to bed about 11 o'clock, and I will be up at 6:30.
Yeah, that's very good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Today I slept in. I slept in until 8:30 today.
Okay.
No, 7:30 today. 7:30.
Oh, 7:30.
So then it was a rush. Then I had to say, hurry, Julian, hurry, you need to get ready. Yeah, have a shower, quick. I'm late, sorry.
Okay.
He slept too. He waits until I wake him up.
So for today, there's some, in the start, I don't think so that we can talk because there is so many things. For this, I'm really very sorry that we are not connecting with the Zoom. So thanks for being with me. Thanks for your viewpoints related to your personal viewpoints, your personal life that you are discussing with me. And I I have learned a lot of things like related to the, even with the questions that I ask you related to the sleeping, diet and the exercise. But some I gain more knowledge from you that for the sporting and the motivation to others, and for me as well. So thanks for this, Thea.
You've done so well to summarize everything that I said, because I talk quite fast, and I think I said maybe a little bit more than I needed to say, and I'm sorry I couldn't be more concise.
No, no, no. I learned really, from my personal viewpoint, I learned a lot of things from you, that how to keep busy myself, and how to support the, like you are supporting your family, and how to support with the my family and the person who I'm dealing with. And thanks for uh, thanks for connecting with me with the speakers bank and share your viewpoints.
Thank you. It's been a very enjoyable experience, and I hope that maybe other people might find something useful in our discussion.
Yeah, thanks for being with me, Thea.
Thank you so much. It's been lovely to talk with you. Thank you. You've done a great job.
Yes, thank you. Thanks for you. Okay, bye bye, Thea.